Park in front of the net. Foligno scores! Michael Foligno has scored for Toronto!
Good morning, Maple Leaf fans. Welcome back to another episode of the Leafs Lounge for Tuesday, May 28th. Here as always with co-host Justin Kudo. How we doing, my man?
You know, just enjoying what little time of hockey we have left before the offseason takes over. And honestly, as Leaf fans, that's all we're looking forward to is July 1st, right?
That's pretty much it. For
next draft. There's a lot of rumors. The rumor mill has been buzzing in Toronto, and I don't know if you saw that picture that's circulating now on Twitter.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like you were saying, there's not much going on, but in Leafland, there's always something.
There's always something. Yeah, everybody's becoming body language experts now.
I saw all of that. They're like, well, Craig Berube is sitting with like his arms crossed. That probably means Mitch Marner's getting traded, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Too much.
Usually arms crossed is a sign of anger.
Yep. Yeah, he's obviously expressing that he didn't like the answers that he got from Mitch Marner. Yeah. He asked if Mitch Marner wanted to play competitive, tough hockey in the playoffs, and clearly Mitch Marner said no. Everyone already knows exactly what happened at that coffee meeting. It's great theater.
There's always something going on in Leafland because people are just picking it out. I'm not sure if you... Well, I'll let you go. We'll get it to that in the Domi Bertuzzi talks afterwards.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, the only thing, I guess, other on that picture is kind of the, I guess, flip side. The other perspective on that is, well, if Mitch Marner is meeting with Berube, that probably means they don't want to trade him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think we're just overthinking this on both sides of it. It probably is just kind of a routine thing for a new coach to meet everyone on the team. Apparently he met with Max Domi yesterday, I heard, and apparently Tavares today.
He's meeting with Calle Järnkrok?
Probably. Or perhaps with Calle Järnkrok, it'll just be a phone call. or like a text exchange.
Yeah, it's probably just the guys are up back home, and Marner and Domi obviously live in Toronto, the Toronto area, so it's easy.
Yeah, that's probably fair. If the guys are already kind of doing their travels, I mean, I think our buddy David Kampf is probably going to be hungover for the next 2 weeks. I don't know if you saw the footage of Pasternak drinking the beer, just deleting beers out of that trophy. Yeah. Was quite the scene. So maybe Kampf gets a little bit of a hall pass for his meeting with Berube.
How about that, though? David Kampf, proven winner? I don't know.
Proven now, yeah. Well, it's unbelievable. Like, all these guys, like Tavares was, I think the second leading scorer on Canada.
Yeah.
Holmberg had an amazing tournament for Sweden.
Yeah.
It's so tough. It's great to see, obviously, players on the Leafs performing, but you're like, geez, I mean, I get it. The competition isn't the same. Got to acknowledge that. Mm-hmm. But it's unbelievable how well these guys often perform on the international scene. Like, Nylander is a notorious 200-foot player when he puts on the blue and yellow.
Yeah.
And it's just unbelievable. Like, all our players just turn into dogs when they're playing for their country. Tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe before we get into general NHL playoff and talk about the two conference finals, staying on the Leaf topic, because you kind of brought it up, you probably saw that Pierre LeBrun, again, between Pierre LeBrun and Darren Dreger, they clearly must be getting commission for every Leaf contract signed. Because Pierre LeBrun, for our audience who maybe was not aware, Pierre LeBrun kind of suggested through The Athletic that Domi and Bertuzzi, there could be mutual interest with the team in getting a deal done. Problem is, he actually said that it could be at least $5 million for each player on a long-term deal. I think we kind of expect that maybe Bertuzzi could get there if other teams are interested.
Yeah.
I don't see a world where Max Domi gets to $5.5 million coming off a 9-goal season.
No, and not just that. He hasn't really gotten a multi-year deal in a
No.
very long time.
Yeah.
It's been a string of 1 or 2 year deals throughout his last, I don't know, 5, 6 years, it feels like, right?
Yep.
And all of a sudden he spends 1 year in Toronto, actually plays worse than he did the year before when he played on the Stars and Blackhawks.
Blackhawks.
He's
Yeah.
expecting a big raise. It's
It's
the Leaf
crazy.
tax. It's the Leaf
For
tax.
sure. For sure. Like it totally has to be, because you see all the, like, even like, forget about players, but you go to like Kyle Dubas. I mean, he was essentially run out of Toronto, and then he basically gets the keys to the Pittsburgh Penguin franchise. And then Sheldon Keefe, run out of Toronto. Next day, pretty much, he's hired in New Jersey. It just seems like
Mhm.
every guy who leaves the Maple Leafs all of a sudden shows up somewhere, or people like, while they're still a Leaf, they're like, oh yeah, I get it. These guys didn't get it done. The results aren't there. But yeah, sure, Domi is worth 5.5 times 5. Like,
Yeah.
in what world? He's 29 too. So if
He's
you're going to give
29.
him term,
I would
you can't
not
give him also
him,
5 mil.
yeah, I would not give him over. I think the sweet spot for Domi is sub 4 million,
I
because
agree.
once you hit that 4 million plus mark, then comes the expectations, and Leafs fans
Yep.
will be like, he's making 4,125 and he only has 9 goals. That's not good enough. Then comes
Right.
the backlash, right? If he sticks around the 3.8 mark,
Yeah.
he gets a slight, and he gets some term. You give him 3
Yeah. If you
years.
give him term, yeah, a
Look,
mid 3 to 4 at the absolute max, no pun intended, I think should be what they're looking at. Like if you go above 4, like I don't get what the hell you're doing in terms of your cap allocation. That would make no sense to me.
yeah. So with Max Domi, I think that's completely Darren Dreger and Pierre LeBrun got to be on payroll, because
100%.
there is no way that you can put that out there with good faith and be like, yeah, that Tree Living is going to pay Domi 4.5, 5. It's ridiculous.
And if he's heard that from maybe Max Domi's side, like his agent is basically hoping to get 5.5, sure, but it's not really the way he worded it. It was basically like the team and player have been talking, and it's believed the deal could be around 5, like at least 5 mil for both Domi and Bertuzzi. And I'm like, there's no way. There's no way. Like, especially if you're talking about a guy who would probably take a discount to be here.
Exactly.
Like,
You think
if he goes to UFA, sure, some team might throw the bag at him. But if he stays in Toronto,
would they?
how would he take? Probably not the bag, but I mean,
I saw this morning that now Seattle has begun showing interest in Domi. Now Seattle,
saw that, yeah.
He would fit in perfectly with Seattle. A ton of mediocre playmaking forwards that just don't score a lot of goals. That's Seattle hockey right now. So yeah, go over to Seattle and fit right in.
Yeah,
but
if he's looking to kind of get a big pay cut or a big payout, yeah, Seattle might be a good place. They got cap room and a need.
Yeah, I think what's going to be interesting is how much Bertuzzi gets, because I thought he was pretty bad for a large part of the season up until he scored that hat trick around his birthday. Then he started going, right?
Yeah.
And I think heading into that game, he was under 10 goals. Then I think that hat trick put him at 10. And he finished with like 22.
Something around 21, 22, yeah.
And then in playoffs, he didn't really show, right? The one goal he scored in playoffs went off his shin pad. Like, not exactly.
And even Max Domi, he had maybe 2 good games or something. Obviously, game 2 was a really good one for him when he was playing with Matthews and Bertuzzi. But when he got put on the line with Marner and Bertuzzi, they looked all right. But it isn't exactly like either Domi or Bertuzzi were like, incredible playoff killers, Yeah. No, clearly
they weren't
not.
Huge difference. Especially Bertuzzi, he wasn't the difference maker that everybody said he was going to be.
Correct.
And he didn't excuse his performance in the first half of the season like everybody said would happen. He's playing bad now, but just wait for that first round. Just wait.
Yeah, I know. I
And
know. I was definitely hoping that would happen. Yeah.
So I'd be more than happy with letting Bertuzzi walk.
Okay.
I think he's gonna get something rich because of the Leaf tax, and it's not gonna be here.
Yeah.
I'd hope we keep Domi,
Me too.
but we'll see.
Yeah, it depends on what that amount's going to be. And I think obviously the bigger thing, elephant in the room, is what happens with Mitch Marner, right? Like, obviously, if Mitch Marner is gone, yeah, sure.
Then
You might be able to give Domi his $4 million and still kind of upgrade your blue line. If you bring Mitch Marner back, I don't see how you can give, especially Bert, his 5.5. And even I don't know how you do Domi at 4 unless you're going cheap on the blue line acquisitions,
which you can't do, right?
You shouldn't do, no. And I don't think Tree Living will.
That's the thing, right? Because I think it's done now. Like the whole Domi being our 2C or 3C, it's not going to happen. I think as Leaf fans can acknowledge that he's better suited for the wing. I've seen some people toss around the idea of if he comes back, try him again at center. I'm kind of against it.
Yeah, I mean, he's good on the wing if he's playing with a guy like Matthews. Like, if you were going to play him on the wing with like David Kampf and Yarncroke, then no. But yeah, if you're going to give him like a top 6 kind of role on the wing, yeah, that's probably what he's better suited for rather than having to carry his own line at center, even with a guy like Nyes or a Yarncroke or Robertson. I don't think that's where you need Domi or would want Domi. Yeah.
I think the Leafs cap is better. It would be better spent on acquiring a number 1 defenseman that like a guy that can be on your top pairing. Maybe not a real official number 1, but a guy like Brady Shea from Carolina, or a lot of people have thrown around Brett Pesce's name, Brandon Montour's name, Matt Roy, like a guy like that can be a certified first pairing defenseman for you. Like you get
or
one
you
of
can
those,
go and pay,
and then you have maybe a 3-4.
Right.
With 2 defense.
Yeah, I think you need at least 2. You can also go and pay Nikita Zadorov $7 million a year. Apparently, that's what he's going to get now. It looks like he's not going back to Vancouver. So he might hit the open market. Yeah. Well, Vancouver has to figure out a way to get out of that Ilya Mikheyev contract. That guy was absolutely horrendous. And it was like, yeah, I kind of recall a few of those moments where you're like, what is that guy doing? Hands of stone, that guy.
That guy, I remember Mikheyev would have a breakaway seemingly every game. The new age Michael Grabner, where he'd just get a breakaway. And every time he wouldn't score, you'd be like, this guy's so bad.
Yeah. Yeah. He'd start to do his like deke when he was already in the blue paint. And it was like, okay, goalie just going to like poke check him in, end of scoring chance. Awful. Well, and look, I mean, never want to look back on it, but I'll still always remember Mikheyev for the guy who couldn't do that, who couldn't put that tap into the empty net game 5 against the Canadians. Just waving at the puck like, geez, guy. Unreal. Terrible.
So they'll probably have to spend a draft pick to get out of that, but
I would think, unless they buy him out, I don't know what kind of that would look pretty ugly, but yeah, I hear, I think Carolina with Jesperi Kotkaniemi, they're talking about a potential buyout there. That's going to be a massive buyout. They're going to be paying that for the next 12 years if they buy him out. Well, obviously a minimal cap hit every year, but yeah, awful.
Well, what's going around right now is all the Oiler fans saying, how much does it cost to get rid of Darnell Nurse?
Yeah, that might be the ugliest contract right now.
And that is, he's so lost out there, and
dash 12 now, I think.
Yeah. And for every Leaf fan that complains about bad money spent on Marner, at least we don't have that problem with Darnell Nurse, because he would be run out of town within a week.
Yeah, at least the guys that we overpay are actually performing like a normal NHL player, if not a very good one. Whereas like Ken Holland, the money he handed out for Darnell Nurse and Jack Campbell, Like, can
Oof.
you imagine what that could have got Edmonton rather than having to go big game hunting for Adam Henrique and Sam Carrick
Oof.
at the trade deadline? You could have got like a top D-man
Yeah. I mean,
or
man,
goalie.
Adam Henrique, I know he scored last night, but
He did.
He's been bad. Carrick's not even in the lineup. And those are your two big deadline
Well, they
acquisitions.
put Carrick back in recently. Sam Carrick's been in for the last few games. They
'Cause
took
they took out
Ryan
Corey
McLeod
Perry,
out.
right?
Corey Perry's come out for a few,
Yeah.
and then Ryan McLeod came out last night. I don't think it makes a difference. Like, those bottom six guys are not getting anything from. Like Carrick, Brown, and is it Derek Ryan or I forgot who the other guy is in that fourth line.
Ryan.
Yeah, like they're doing all right, but they're not contributing anything offensively. So if McDavid and Draisaitl aren't getting anything done, obviously you've got Zach Hyman, who is the NHL's greatest goal scorer now. But aside from him, there's no one else.
Yeah, that's been the problem with Edmonton going back when they lost in the conference finals last time against the Avs, where they have their top guys, and if the top guys aren't chugging, then nobody else is coming along for the ride, right? So it's just the way their roster's been constructed, especially when you have $9 million to Darnell Nurse, Cody Cece's Leaf Legends soaking up 3.5.
Yeah, no, for sure. And look, I mean, a lot of their problems, obviously, the Leafs problems are more magnified because of the, obviously worse results than Edmonton has at least seen in the playoffs, but very similar concerns, right? You put so much money into your top guys, and when they perform, everyone's okay with it. But then you kind of, once you get past the doormats like the LA Kings and Vancouver Canucks in the West, you start facing real hockey teams. And, and we saw what Colorado did to them. We saw what Vegas did to them last year. And now Dallas, I mean, I know it's only 2-1, but I think we kind of can see where this is going for Edmonton, right?
Yeah. I mean, if Dallas pulls this off and goes all the way and then ends up winning the cup, this has got to be the hardest Stanley Cup run ever.
I agree. I wasn't even thinking about that, but now that you mention it, it might be.
You face the Avs in the second round. That's the cup winner from 2 years ago. You face Vegas in the first round, the reigning cup champs. Then you face the people's favorite Oilers in the third round. And then
arguably best player in the game right now. Yep. That's a tough road. You have
the Panthers, probably. I don't know. We can get into that series afterwards,
or the President's Trophy Rangers.
Yeah.
So that's a very tough path. They would definitely deserve their flowers if they can kind of run that gauntlet for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And then we saw the Robertson, who I think some Leaf fans on Twitter think they're seeing when they watch R89 go out there. Like, man, that guy went beast mode, hat trick. He hadn't really done much all playoffs, but I think he definitely made up for it now.
That first goal where Rope just put it on a platter for him and he went bar down and just put it perfect shot. I'm like,
gorgeous.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't get any better. Doesn't get any better than that. And then you just saw, and he said it in the interview. He was like, as soon as I scored the first one, I just had so much confidence, and it just led to his shooting. Right. So
for sure. Yeah. Although the third goal was not quite as pretty. That's awful. I've looked at that so many times, and if I was an Oilers fan, I wouldn't be able to watch it anymore. Like, Skinner, awful. That's an awful goal. Can't have that happen.
Yeah, especially for it to be the game-winning goal too, right at the end of the game.
Oh yeah, backbreaker, total backbreaker.
Yeah.
Do you think he goes tomorrow, or do they go back to Calvin Pickard?
I don't know. See, that's the thing, right?
Tough call.
I think they showed, because if you lose tomorrow, then you're down 3-1 going back to Dallas.
Curtains. Yeah, you need to win tomorrow.
Yeah. So
Jack Campbell.
I honestly think they would go to Pickard. I do think so.
I wouldn't be shocked. It would be a bold move. Like, if Knobloch went to Pickard, it would be a bold move.
But he did it when they were down 2-1 against the Canucks as well.
He did. He did. So it wouldn't shock me if they did it. But if you put in Pickard and he just gets shelled, like, yeah, you probably just need to pack your bags even before game 5 starts,
But I think what everybody's seeing is the Stars are just such a well-rounded hockey team. They're so deep. They have 4 lines that go. They use all 12 forwards.
Yeah. And
they have
well-coached, goaltending, the
good
otter.
goaltending, defense that just plays both ways. They have defense like Harley and Heiskanen that have the offense.
Yeah.
And then
Tanev can actually move the puck. That's nice to have.
Tanev and Lindell on the back end as well, just shutting down.
Shut down guys.
That's a solid.
And then you got like a veteran guy, Ryan Suter, who obviously isn't what he was even 5-6 years ago. But I think most NHL teams would gladly take him as their third pair.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. No, I've been very impressed with Dallas. Like, obviously, like I was going to ask you this. In terms of like Edmonton, obviously the final Canadian team, is there anything in you? Okay, you know where I'm going with that. You don't have any interest as a Canadian. There's no extra motivation to see Edmonton go through.
No. The whole
same for me.
Root for Canada. Oh, root for
yeah.
Oh, I hate it. I hate it. It bothers me so much. And it's that stupid. It's that stupid Boston Pizza commercial that's got everybody talking about it, and it's so ridiculous,
right? Yeah, like it just seems like, I don't know if this is just like a Canadian thing, but you just get like so much of that. And I guess my perspective is, for whether you're a Leaf fan or you're a Calgary, Vancouver Canuck fan, if you're a fan of those teams and now you're rooting for Edmonton, I would question how passionate of a fan you are. You just might be more of like, the Leafs are my favorite team, or Vancouver's my favorite team, but they're done now. So go Edmonton, go. I just can't bring myself to doing that, because I know if the shoe was on the other foot and the Maple Leafs were the last Canadian team, no way in hell the Ottawa Senator or Montreal Canadian fan base or Edmonton Oilers fan base would be cheering for the Maple Leafs. There's no way.
No shot.
So for me, I've just always been like, there's no extra joy to see Montreal, Edmonton, Vancouver win. Like, it would actually be a horrible summer if the Oilers won the cup. Can you imagine how annoying that fan base would get? They're already pretty annoying.
I mean, there was nothing that brought me more joy than watching the Habs make it all the way to the cup final, just to crash and burn.
Yeah.
It was
100%.
It was so satisfying. So in that regard, like, it was not too bad. But I think it's so funny. I watch the American broadcast sometimes on ESPN or TNT, and they always say, "Oh, the Oilers, they have the backing of a nation, like all of Canada's behind them." And I'm thinking, no way. No. Like, I think it says a lot about like the Canadian teams' rivalries with one another. Like,
for sure,
we do not care if I don't even care about the Canucks, and the Canucks are like the least of any of our rivals in the Flames. I still don't want to see them win.
No, there's no other Canadian team I want. Like, you think like New Jersey Devil fans want the Rangers to win the cup? No chance. There's no chance they do. Or like the Islander fans, Flyer fans. There's no way they're. But it's just a Canadian thing, I think, because we're always kind of seen as, very unified and respectful. And every Canadian hockey fan is behind the Edmonton Oilers. Have you actually talked to any of them? Because I don't think they are.
The thing is that I know if the Stars went on to win the cup, 90% of that team is Canadian. So technically, the cup is coming home. The cup's going to spend the entire summer here.
It's going to be with either Matthew Shane or Sagan. Yeah, like, it's still going to be spending a lot of time in Canada.
Wyatt Johnson, like all these guys.
There's a ton.
Hankoven, like a lot of that team is Canadian. Thomas Harley, Canadian.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, I've always not really bought into that idea that, last Canadian team, we're rooting for them. No chance.
Yeah, it's that stupid Boston Pizza commercial where it's like, let's change things up and cheer for each other's teams. Like, oh man.
Yeah, no, thank you.
And they got Dart Guy out there.
I saw that with the green guys. So ridiculous.
The Dart Guy, come on, man. I still remember that from the Washington series. I thought that was the funniest thing in the world.
That guy blew up. He actually got on to like TSN for a bit, right? Like, didn't he do like either, I don't know if it was Leaf Lunch or something, but he was on like the radio. He was co-hosting a show.
I thought it was
I don't want to hear what this guy thinks about hockey. He's a moron who just happened to take a great picture or have a good picture taken of him.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was the funniest thing ever when I saw.
Yeah.
When I said that's hilarious. But now he's a sellout Oiler fan.
Yeah. Well, I think after he realized that those checks that he thought he was still getting from being like that Leaf fan and all those memes and his little cup of coffee with TSN, he's like, okay, maybe I've got to sell myself out for some other cause now or other team.
I know.
So how about we get to the other matchup, Florida and the Rangers? I think the biggest thing out of that was the Jacob Trouba elbow, non-elbow. Thoughts on that one? Should he have got 5?
I mean, no, like you can't give him a 5 for intent to kill somebody, but can you?
I think just for like the elbow. I know it was more of a forearm, but I don't know. It felt like a headshot. Looked like a headshot.
It's not the first time he's led with the elbow, and it's not going to be the last.
Definitely not.
Like that's headhunting at its finest, right there. And you're like,
for sure. Like I thought he should have got 5, and I thought it was kind of crazy that the NHL, after the officials on the ice reviewed it and decided not to go with a 5, then the NHL says, "Oh yeah, I think they made the wrong call, so let's give him a $5,000 fine."
That means nothing, though.
Like, exactly. The NHL is so crazy. Like, they have no idea. Like, their officials have no idea what to call, when to call it. And then the league, like, I think you would have been better to at least present a unified front that, yeah, the officials got it right. It shouldn't have been 5. But by going and fining him, you're basically suggesting that they didn't get the call right now. And it should have been probably a 5-minute in the game. Like, you don't fine someone for a 2-minute penalty.
I think
normally
that if he had actually connected with that elbow, with the flying elbow, that would have been, he probably is done for the playoffs.
It was not a full he connect to the head.
Yeah.
But I still think it deserved 5 because the intent was there and he led with the elbow. I think it helped that I think Evan or Rodriguez kind of tried to like duck under it or whatever, and then he got the forearm instead of the elbow. That probably kept him from being concussed or whatever.
Yeah, it was, and it's not the first time he's done it, even in the playoffs. If you remember last round, he tried to kill Natchez. He just jumped at him full force. Superman punched him and just missed.
Yeah, and that's always been his game, and it just kind of like, how are we still at the point where Trouba is given the benefit of the doubt?
Yeah, he's not getting punished, so he's just going to continue doing it until he does.
No, but at least we know the NHL has written it down in their book. Okay, one more $5,000 fine. You get 8 more of those, and we might actually suspend you. but it's funny. Like, I don't know if you caught this, but this was kind of making the rounds. So, like, Trouba, that hit was a 2-minute penalty, $5,000 fine. The Michael Bunting hit from last year's postseason, if you look at it, very comparable. That was worth 3 games. Or do you think that was a lot more vicious?
I think Bunting's was less vicious.
That's what we're saying here.
Yeah, kind of cut him off, and the elbow came up.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what I'm saying. How is that 3 games? Right.
Should have led with it too. But
yeah, we were talking about the Toronto tax before. Yeah, the NHL has their own Toronto tax when it comes to suspensions.
That's unbelievable. But right now, I think this series is set up for the Florida Panthers to win in 6. I don't think they will.
You think Florida's going to win it? Okay.
But because I want the Rangers to win. But man, like, what were the shot attempts last game? 106-40.
Is that what it got up to for Florida? Yeah. Like, Igor's been unbelievable, but it feels like Florida, for the most part, has been, I don't know, from, I guess, the 9 periods so far, I'd probably give Florida at least 5 or 6 of the periods in terms of basically tilting the ice, the better scoring chances. They just can't beat Igor. And all of a sudden, the Rangers are like shorthanded killers. You got Barclay Goudreau coming off a regular season where I think he had 2 goals. He's already got, what, 5 in the postseason?
Yeah, and 2 in the
Insane.
series. Yeah, or 3
Yeah.
in the series.
Yeah, I think it
Including an
might be
OT
3.
winner. So it's
Yeah. He's gone hero mode, as he typically does. He's playing guy.
Hey, you see Bob, like Bob's not the same goalie he was last season. That's for sure.
No.
He had that miracle run against the Leafs and all the way to the Cup final, and now he's come right back down to earth. I think he's sub 900 in the playoffs.
I think he probably is. Yeah, he's definitely not doing what he did against Toronto and Carolina last year. That's for sure. He's definitely he's good, but he's obviously been the second best goalie in pretty much every game. And as we know as Leaf fans, you're probably not going to win any of those if you have the second best goaltending.
Yeah, he's at a 903 right now. I thought it would have came down a little bit more after last game, but still not great.
That still ain't going to do it. That's not going to get it done.
If you have the second best goalie in every series, then you're not going to win a lot of the time. But Florida, they have they're very similar to Dallas in that they're so deep.
Yeah.
And they can run 12 guys.
Oh yeah.
But I don't think they have the same goaltending. Like, I think Ottinger's a step above Bobrovsky. I don't think that's a hot take, but
no, I agree. Yep. No, and I think we're seeing 3 of the 4 teams left, because I would say Edmonton is not in any way, shape, or form built like the 3 other teams when it comes to the depth throughout the lineup, the goaltending, the defense in terms of how deep it is and capability. But those other 3 teams, those are kind of like the model for what I would hope the Leafs would try to kind of turn their team into, right? Where it's like, yeah, you've got your top guys who are still going to be the focuses and going to carry your offense for the most part, but you've got guys on your bottom 6 and, on your blue line who are going to contribute. Yeah. Like, obviously with Dallas, it's like a new guy almost every night who's contributing. Like Sagan's had a good playoffs. Ben has contributed, but Wyatt Johnson's been amazing. It was Robertson last night. Rupe Hintz is now back and he's going to contribute. Like, it just, like with the Leafs, you got to eventually get to a point where you're moving out guys like Yarncroke, Kampf, maybe Robertson. In the past, it was guys like Engvall, Mikheyev, where it's like these guys are just doing cardio out there. You need to have maybe not 12 guys that are always going to be able to impact the game or tilt the ice, but
have 9,
7 or 8. Sure. Give me 9 guys who can actually tilt the ice,
Yeah. Like impact guys that if they went out there for any given shift, they could make something happen, right? And sometimes that comes with its drawbacks. Like, I'd rather have a high event player than someone that goes out there and does nothing, right? I'd rather someone. Yeah. And this is where it comes down to the difference between a guy like Nick Robertson and a guy like Alex Kerfoot, right? Alex Kerfoot is, you're not going to get much from him, if anything at all.
Right.
But you're also not going to give up anything, right? He's kind of just there.
Right.
Cardio. Whereas Nick Robertson, you have the illusion for what he can do.
Right.
While also dealing with all of his turnovers in his own zone. So.
Yeah, exactly. And it just kind of it just feels, and I know they haven't had these deep runs, so who knows? If the Leafs got to conference final, would we have seen a contribution from a Nick Robertson or Timothy Liljegren? Maybe we would have.
I think on these deeper runs is where you find those guys.
Yeah, assuming they're capable, right? I almost believe, we were talking about Ilya Mikheyev. Ilya Mikheyev, you could take all the way to the Cup final, and I'm not sure he'd find a way to put a puck in the net. He had 2 goals for the Maple Leafs in, I guess, his 2 playoff years. They were both empty net goals.
Ooh.
And he hasn't scored yet he didn't score for Vancouver in this postseason. So, guys like that, and I put Yarncroke in that same category. Yarncroke hasn't scored a single playoff goal for the Maple Leafs in 2 years. And it's not like he's not getting ice time.
Oh, he's getting a ton. Yeah.
Yeah, and last year he played on the top line for a bit, right? He was playing with Marner and Matthews and couldn't find the net. So like these guys just feel like you got to move on from them. I don't think it's an easy path because I'm not sure any team is lined up
I don't
to
know.
take Yarncroke or David Kampf off you.
Devils, maybe.
Yeah, they might now, right? Yeah, you got to get on the horn with Tom Fitzgerald. Find out who Sheldon Keefe wants. Yep.
Yeah.
Or Dubas. Or Dubas, maybe.
I don't know if I'd want to move David Kampf right now, though. He's kind of
you want to run that high, eh? Off that high, winning the World Championship gold medal. Who knows? Maybe he's going to be your second line center. Move Tavares down to third seat and get world champion David Kampf on the 2 seat.
I don't know. And you see, the one thing about David Kampf,
is it possible he might be underpaid now?
Maybe. I mean, him and Pasternak are both world champs. I don't know.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same player right now. I agree. Yeah.
But David Kampf, like even in that game, in the gold medal game, he is out there for pretty much the last 2 minutes. Like his
line was like the best. It was him.
A lot of those guys, like a lot of
Dominic Kubalik. Yep.
Like,
yeah. And I couldn't help, like I was watching, I don't know if it was a semi-final or the gold medal. They were just like raving about David Kampf. It's like, yeah, he's only at like 49% face-off wins, but he's won a couple huge ones in the offensive zone that led to a goal.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, okay, yeah, that definitely is a great refresher for everyone, like talking up and hyping up David Kampf for like a couple key face-off wins. And then you look at the box score, it's like he was 48%. Like, sure, you could always find a key one that he won, but if he's 48%, there's probably a few key ones he lost as well.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So maybe before we wrap, is there anyone, obviously since we last spoke, either RFA or UFA for the Toronto Maple Leafs right now? Because there's, I think, about 12 or I think there's like 14 combined UFA, RFAs for the Maple Leafs. Obviously understanding that maybe the most talented player or the best performer, whether you believe that's Bertuzzi or Domi, might come at a cost and might not be reasonable enough to re-sign them. Is there one guy that from a combination of expected contract value and performance would be here's the guy I would most want to see back?
Between those two or just out of the whole group?
Between all of them. So let's talk Robertson, Dewar, Lilly, Edmondson, Labushkin. I hope not, but Gio.
Gio's moving upstairs.
Samsonov, Brody, Martin Jones. Like we've got a ton of free agents.
I think my number one person I'd want to keep is Liljegren.
Okay. I didn't expect that.
I'm still in on him as a serviceable top 4. I haven't given up. I think that a new coach could really help him.
Okay.
So
like if he's expecting term, like would you give him a 3-year contract right now?
If he wants to keep the money down, if he wants a 3x2, because his qualifying offer is 1.25, I think. If you want to give him 3x2, it not only does it make him easy to trade because now all of a sudden you can give him another team. It's only $2 million. He's young. He has upside. And a team like a lot of teams, I think every team in the league would take a chance on a guy like that, right? So
yeah, I think if the price is right,
2.25, something small like that, gives him some term. You can settle down,
Yeah, like I think I'd be okay. Like I don't think he would, but if he were to accept his qualifying offer, whatever that would be, I would think it would still have to be below $2 million. I think his qualifying offer is
like one something.
Maybe 1.5, let's say, for argument's sake. If it's in or around there, I'm okay with that. Bringing him back on a 1 year, I just can't imagine he would be open to that. And especially if you're saying that there's going to be other opportunities, other teams for him, I would hope that he'd say, like, look, I'm not accepting the qualifying offer. Can we try and figure out a trade here?
Yeah.
Because I think I deserve another opportunity. I feel I'm capable, or I think I'm deserving of terms somewhere. Can we try to make something happen here? So I'm okay with him coming back for a 1 year thing. I don't think that will be or have an appetite for it, but I don't know if I could give him term right now.
Okay, fair.
Yeah. But I mean, I know there's a lot of love for like Timothy Liljegren, Robertson as well. Like, how about going with the RFAs, like a Nick Robertson? Where would you give him term?
No, but I also don't think that he could ask for term. I think Robertson, out of him and Liljegren, Robertson's more likely to ask for a trade.
I'd agree. Because I think he just feels like he hasn't got any opportunity.
Yeah.
Where with Timothy Liljegren, yeah, you got pretty good opportunity in the playoffs, and you didn't show much.
We spoke at the top about Berube kind of meeting the guys, talking to the guys, probably discussing where he envisions them in the lineup come next season.
Right.
And I think whenever he does, maybe he already has, but whenever he does talk to Robertson, that's going to be a big point of where it's like, where am I going to be playing, coach? Like,
right.
I want to be given an opportunity. And if not, then I think we have to move on because he has untapped potential, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I think there is.
It's not going to be here.
Exactly. I think to your point, it's a matter of like, are you going to ever see that ceiling or untapped potential if he's playing with guys like Yarncroke and Holmberg?
Yeah.
Probably not. Probably not. I don't think too many talented players would really excel or reach their potential playing with those two guys, and nor do you really want, like on a Berube team, I can't imagine a Nick Robertson would be his prototypical third line winger.
Yeah.
Right? So it feels like it would be an odd fit there. I was gonna say on other guys. Like I think from the end of year presser from Tree Living, sounds like there's going to be an appetite to bring Dewar back. All for bringing him back if it was like just his qualifying offer, 1-year deal, or even 2 or 3 years at around 1.5. I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, I mean he'd probably want to get more than Revo. So whatever
and
Revo's
he deserves more if he's going to give you 3 years. Yeah, give him more than Revo.
But
yeah, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it will be interesting to see what they do, obviously, because I don't think anything can really happen until they figure out the Mitch Marner. But from Mitch Marner's side, he really doesn't have to be in a rush to do anything. He can say, okay, you know what? I'm not really sure. I want to waive my no movement. Let's talk at the end of the summer. But hey, if you're looking to negotiate and give me a contract offer, here's where my number is going to have to begin. And until you're there, we'll see you in training camp type thing, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
So hopefully it doesn't get too awkward there, but hopefully we can find out if he does meet Tree Living or Shanny at any other coffee shops in the GTA. And then we'll have more speculation to talk about.
Indeed. Yeah.
All right, man. Very good to chat. Enjoy the game tonight. And the next few for the conference finals. Hopefully we get an extended series in both and we'll have more hockey to watch.
Yeah, for sure. I can't wait.
All right, pal. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too.
Enjoy the games, everybody. Talk to you soon.